On the Insights dashboard, I'll be really brief. So Kev and I and others have been talking about this for a long time. And the need, I guess, basically when content designers use LocalGov Drupal, they want to use analytics and call center data and user feedback and other things to make good decisions. But what I've seen, like in all the council jobs I've had, is you have to go hunt this stuff down a lot of the time. So probably Google's the easiest. You go and look at pages, but the Google interface keeps changing. There's an enormous amount of learning you have to do to stay on top of that. User feedback you might not have at all. Call center stuff. When I've tried to get this, it's been like random PDFs and wrap codes that I don't understand, if I can get it at all, or other data that's down the back of a filing cabinet. I mean, it's just this stuff is so hard to use. So what happens more often than not is it's not used. So I guess the dream is like, how do you bring this stuff across into LocalGov Drupal? At the time a content designer is trying to write something, you've actually got data to hand to make decisions. I did some sketches for this ages ago, but Kev typically goes away and builds something and it's amazing. So I think with that, on that note, Kev, no pressure. It'd be lovely to see what you've done and then have a bit of a chat about it, and see what the appetite is for taking this forward. So please go for it, Kev.
No pressure at all. Thank you.
Yeah, none.
So I think, Will, you've just framed that really well. So I won't repeat what you said about the kind of the user need for this. I'm just going to dive straight into kind of my sketches that I put together to kick this process off. And these sketches are kind of where we want to get to. We're about halfway there, as you'll see in a moment. But basically, I wanted to have an analytics page within Drupal where we could configure it to look at different data. So this configuration panel at the top basically says, well, this page has a corresponding service in our CRM. So we can have a look up and we can connect the web page to our CRMs, what we call our service line, and pull data back. And quite often the web page will have a corresponding phone number attached to it. So my idea is that can we then, save that phone number within the web page, and then when we go to the analytics page, just go off to the telephony system and pull back loads of data about that. So that's the config bit at the top. And then as you go down the page, I just want it to kind of tell a bit of a story. So this page is about, did a recent change have a positive effect on the business? Now, positive effect might be that you have more page views, you might have a lower bounce rate, you might have a lower exit rate. It might be that you've increased the number of self-service cases that are created on your system. It might be that you've decreased the number of phone calls that are coming through to the CRM. It might be that you've decreased the number of cases that CSAs are having to raise on behalf of people because they can't use the self-service. So all these charts here give us this information. So the idea was to have a chart which showed us what the situation was a year ago. So a 3-month snapshot from a year ago, and the same 3-month snapshot from this year, so that you could get rid of any seasonal variations and just concentrate on the data that was important to answer the question at the top of the page here. And so we're going to look at views, bounce rates, exit rates, telephony data, self-service cases in the CRM. So how many people are successfully self-serving, CSA raised cases in CRM. So, how many people weren't able to use the self-service, had to phone the contact center instead. Self-service to CSA cases as a ratio, because, over time you'd want that ratio to be going up. And absolute numbers, you don't want to be having to do the maths yourself, to work that out. So could we provide the ratio as well as a chart and see if that's going up or down over time? And the other tool that we've got is that we have on every single page a feedback form, and it's linked to a Drupal form. So can we go to our database that has all of our feedback and pull that into our publication site and show that on the analytics page as well? Because that may give us some really good insight as to why these stats above aren't what we'd like them to be. So that's where that was the plan. So I went away. My job role, I'm the digital platform development manager, and traditionally I've worked on Liberty Create, which is our transactional side of the coin. And and it was previously Angie who was running the web team side of things. But I've recently, and Angie moved to Southwark. I'm now looking after the Drupal devs as well. So between us, we've been able to cobble this together. First of all, I started in Liberty Create and created an endpoint that Drupal could see. And we've created 5 different functions within that endpoint. The first function pulls all the services that are available, all the service lines, so that when we're doing that configuration box at the top, we can select a service line that actually exists in CRM. And then we've got 4 other little API functions, one which gives us the CSA data for the last 3 months and the same 3 months a year ago, and another one that gives us the self-service data and for the last 3 months and the self-service data a year ago for the same corresponding 3 months, so that you can compare like for like. And then I handed the documentation, so we can create the documentation that says how this API works, gives all the requests and all the responses, and I handed that over to Adnan, who does stuff that I don't understand in Drupal. He's a Drupal developer. I don't pretend to understand what Adnan does, but I give him a plan, and a few weeks later he gives me a working feature. So and that's all I really need to know about that side of things. So I'm going to show you a few examples of the kind of insight we're getting. Now I'm showing you a dev site here, but it is connected to live data in our live CRM, and it's getting data about the live site from Google. So you're seeing real data in here. I think if this meeting was next week, I'd probably be showing you this in the production website as well. I think we're that close. We're days away of getting this into dev. So what we've done so far, this is my first page where we can analyze whether a recent change has had a positive or negative effect on the website and on the business, on the organization. And I'm showing you marriage and civil partnerships page. And I'm showing you a service line called birth, deaths and marriages. So this is all cases that have been created in our CRM around birth, deaths and marriages. And first of all, we can see page views. This is all coming from Google Analytics. We can see that actually the page views a year ago were higher than they are now. And it peaks in the summer, probably wedding season, perhaps, not sure. And the same for unique users, so very similar data, but unique users. And we can see bounce rates here for a year ago and also for this year. And then we can see some self-service data. Now, what you need to know about this is that in July, we went live with a new service so that people could do all their birth, deaths and marriages online in a different way. We used to use Zipporah. We built this out in low code. So we've got a load of data here showing that, in July, we went live in July. So this is only a part of a month. We got 400 cases. And in August, we got 600 cases. We're down to about 360 cases in September. But again, we're only half of the way through September as well. And so that's given us some, it's showing that, a lot of people are using the online tool, which is great. They're self-serving. We dropped down to this number of cases that CSAs have raised in the same period. And we can see that CSAs are only raising 52 cases, 90 cases. So we have a massive proportion of people being able to self-serve online. Very few relatively happening by CSAs assisted. And here's this and here's this ratio we're talking about. So we can see here that 87% of people in August use self-service as opposed to phone the contact center to get them to do it for them. So that's really nice data. Just a few other tabs here that, just pages that I've just been looking at randomly. So this is the Getting Married and Civil Partnership page. Now this actually looks at an old code. So before we went live, we used to use one service type, and since we've gone live, we changed the service type. And that's actually one of the things I'd like to improve upon. I'd like Drupal to be able to look at multiple service lines at once, if we can, but that's a future iteration. But this just shows, kind of how dramatically you know, that old service has declined. And you can see this year, if we compare this year with last year, CSAs were taking about 450 calls in July last year. No, this year, as opposed to over 1,200 calls last year. So they're taking a third less calls since we went live with the new system. So we're getting really good insight using these pages. Talk a little bit about these bars that appear when you're sharing your screen are really annoying, aren't they? This is our garden waste page. So, and I've moved over to the demographics tab now. So we've got our web page performance tab, and we've also got demographics. This just a really nice chart to show a seasonal service. You know, everybody in spring wants to renew their garden waste or order their garden waste. So we can see really nice spikes happening in spring. Yeah, we kind of know this, but we can actually put figures on it here. We can also find out about bounce rates. We can find out where people came from. Did they come to us from another website page or from a search engine? Or did they just, you know, have it bookmarked? I think this really thin slice here are people that have got to it, you know, not through a search engine, not from our website. So probably a bookmark page. We've got some, you know, not just charts, but we've got figures here as well. Where do these people live? Well, 31% of people that are coming onto our website to look at garden waste live in Croydon. 67% live outside of Croydon in the rest of the UK. And less than 1% of people are living abroad when they're looking at our garden waste page. That tells us quite a lot. We're trying to get age data because if they're logged into Chrome when they're searching, Google should be able to give us that, but we're struggling with that a little bit. We can find out how long they were on the page for as well. So that's nice bit of demographics data. That's in Drupal. What else have I got? Homelessness. Why was I on this page? Yeah, this is just showing, you know, CSA cases last year. Oh yeah, so this is a picture of this is showing you a service where demand has increased a lot. So last year it's about 5,000 calls in July. This year it's 6,000. So, you know, it's not all positive stories when you're looking at data. Sometimes what you're trying to do is to show that, yeah, the impact of policies or whatever has actually increased the number of calls into the contact center. We can get that kind of data as well. Ordering a rubbish bin. This is going to be interesting over the next couple of months because we are going to start charging for replacement bins. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this page to see what impact that has upon the business. And yeah, this is just kind of missed bins. Again, you know, if you have a look at last year, 2,600, this year, 2,400, you know, we're consistently performing better this year than we were last year. And hopefully we'll continue to do so. But yeah, just a little bit of some ideas there, really. And I suppose, well, I don't know if have you got a multimeter? Are you going to ask some questions? But we really just want to know if this is useful and, you know, how we could collaborate to make this more of a thing. Because we're using Liberty Create as our CRM. Other people might be using different CRMs. We're using MyTel as our telephony. We haven't done the telephony bit yet. It's on pause. Because as somebody alluded to, we're just moving on to our intranet site. So the people that were working on this, Adnan and Chris, are now going to be working on the intranet for a while. So we're pausing this for a couple of months, but it probably is a good idea to pause, see if it's useful before we go on and do possibly the hardest bit of it, which is integrating with telephony.
Oh, me. I thought you were going to come in, Aaron. I think this is spectacular personally. But you go, Aaron.
No, all yours. Do you want to see if we've got any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you so much, Kev. This is brilliant. It was lovely when I first saw it, and it's lovely to see how it's developed. I guess what we in a moment we've got sort of a few sort of structured questions because we really like everyone here to tell us what systems you're using, and also to tell us about how you might want to get involved with this. But Aaron will run through that in a second. But I guess before we get to that, are there any sort of general thoughts, questions about this Well, I'll also look at the chat, although I don't think there's been any questions in the chat. But does anyone feel like coming on camera and just asking a question or raising a comment? You can say, oh, it's great, or no, I hate it. Is also good.
I can just jump in there. Hi,
Yeah,
Kev.
go for it, Angie.
Lovely to see you.
Angie.
Just to say, awesome work. I think this is going to be great for our for content designers. You know, I've had conversations recently around the use of GA4. This looks like it's going to be so much easier for us to see a snapshot of what's happening on specific pages, specific areas really quickly. So I hope you do continue the work. Adnan, I know you've got an awesome dev over there. Your dev team is on point. Wonderful. Great stuff. Keep going because I want it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Angie. I think Adnan's on the call as well. Your ear's burning, Adnan. Is any? Oh no, please say. You know, I interrupted you.
Yeah, we're still working on it. Yeah, hopefully we'll find out how good it works after a few months. That's also new.
Good stuff. Lots of background noise there, though. So thanks for your hard work on this. Does anyone else have any questions? Although we'll get to our any thoughts or questions, or we'll get to our structured ones. Does anyone have anything like this already that they use? Has anyone worked on anything like this? Felt like somebody wanted to talk there. No.
We've tried to. Hi, it's Catherine at Blackburn. I don't.
Hi,
my
Catherine.
video doesn't seem to be working. We've tried to do stuff with internally using Power BI dashboards, but trying to get the data to pull through has been a bit of a nightmare, and we haven't got that comparison either. We've got certain types of data coming through, but we haven't got that. You know, the ratios that they were showing that we could see there. We're just getting sort of isolated chunks of data being fed through to a dashboard. We struggle massively with Google Analytics 4 because it's sledgehammer to crack a nut as far as we're concerned in terms of what we want out of it. So this looks fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine. I think I've always struggled with GA, and the fact that they just keep changing it, and I feel I'm just so out of date with it now, and it's such a big jump to get back into it and really understand what it's doing, and it's just an overhead I just haven't got time for. So yeah, I would definitely recognize that. Would anyone else like to chat? Go for it, Dan. Dan and then Suchi.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, I think this is really great. Just a really brilliant demonstration. We do have some of this stuff, but it's in all sorts of different places, so we've got to scrabble around to find it. But my one question was are you trying to use this for reporting as well, or is it just for the content editors at the minute? Or are you doing it using this sort of presenting this data in a way that could be used for sort of management reporting as well?
At the moment, it's just the content editors, but there's lots of conversations at the moment about decentralization of content editing as well, and that was one of the things that kind of spurred me on to do this, because if you're gonna allow your services to edit their own content, they need to have a bit of information to be able to see whether their edits are any good or not, and so that was one of the main things that caused me to get this done.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you.
So I think, Dan, if there are sort of management sort of MI sort of needs, it'd be really good to chat about what those might be and who might want to see them. I think I had a sketch where it was like, here's a service owner view of a bunch of pages. This is what you could give them a login to see some kind of secure link, but that's some way off, I guess.
That would be interesting to chat about that, because we do some of that, but it's not that coherent. Yeah, I would say.
Good stuff. Thank you. Suchi?
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Will. So, hi, everyone. Sorry, I missed the demo. I was on another meeting. Apologies. So, I don't know what has happened, but yeah, I can just see the reporting and the analytics, which is really good, which is what we are always looking for. So, at ECC, we use as Will, you're aware of, we use Google Analytics, and we also use the Looker Studio to build the dashboards. So I felt the Looker Studio is okay to get the comparisons, to get the page views and all other KPIs that we are after, which is good. But having them inbuilt in the LGD is a great thing. It's really wonderful. So I'm actually looking forward for that to be going live so that we can get it. Thank you. Looks amazing though. Yeah, although I haven't seen all of it, but yeah, the graphs and all the charts and the graphs looks good.
Thank you.
I hope to be having conversations with you shortly as well. Thank you for your email the other day, but I'm more than happy to do a bit of a deeper dive into this with you at some point.
Yeah, sure, Kevin. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you both. Should we go on, Aaron? Should we move on?
Yeah.
To sort of more high level stuff.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks, Kev. Right, let's see if this works. So what I'm going to do, what I'm doing right now, is opening Mentimeter in Zoom. So I know this will work fine if you're, so ignore this screen, but I know this is going to work fine if you're using the app. I don't know how easy it's going to be if you're in the, I'm just going to find it.
It's basically opened a thing and it said you're invited to join a Mentimeter app. That's what I got in Zoom. Right. So maybe other people got that as well.
So if you could join, I can see 16 people have joined so far. You don't need to use the QR code. I think let's just stick to just joining via Zoom, via the Zoom invite. And so this is for councils, really, because we're interested in finding out a little bit about what councils use, that kind of thing. You'll see when we get to the questions. So what I want to know is how do I, there we go. Okay. So we're going to go, Will, do you want to introduce the questions? And I'll just do the tabbing.
Oh, okay. I think some people have jumped in already. So I guess we want to know of the options there. How useful would this be to you? How useful would an insights dashboard of this kind be? So please do choose an option.
And if you are struggling with Mentimeter, then you can drop your answers in the chat as well. And it's also just useful to know if people are struggling and they're trying to get on. So if you've got any feedback on that front, just drop it in the chat.
And I think for the people who are not sure, I don't know how bashful you are, but if you could either just say out loud or just post in the chat why you think not sure. My guess would be there's a big problem here around actually getting the data in the first place. You know, that's certainly what I've struggled with in the past. So is that why you're not sure, or do you just not think you might use it as often? So if you want to post about that, please do. Or just shout out loud. It's also good.
All right. Should we keep
Let's
moving?
Move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty conclusive.
I really like this Mentimeter thing. I've not used it in Zoom before.
Somehow put the title there as well. God. Okay. So
this is like if you had these kind of functions as a content designer or in a council web team, how often would you use them? How often do you think you'd be looking at them? So it's not necessarily, so my hunch was this would be like a continuous thing, but maybe it's not. You kind of look at intervals. You know, is it based on how often you review particular pages might be, maybe. If anyone wants to comment in the chat, by the way, then please do.
Okay, right, okay.
But nobody's put, we can't get the data, which I thought we'd have lots of people say that.
Yeah.
It might be tricky to get the data, but it's not we can't get it at all. Should we move on?
Yeah, sorry, just answering some comments, people who are struggling to get in. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Okay.
So the next few questions are about your technology choices or what you use in your teams. So we're really interested. This isn't open-ended. I think you could just type what you use. What web analytics software do you use? So the kind of things, yeah. So GA4, that's the kind of thing we're expecting. Fathom, Matomo, others, Clarity. Okay. Please just like in a word or two, type in what you. It's very funky, isn't it?
Natty. Well, it says Natty.
Natty. Cluedo. Okay. So for search.
Yeah. Silk Tide. Yeah.
That's fun. Just thinking if there's anything any sort of odd ones.
There's another one I forgot. It starts with hot.
Hotjar.
Hotjar. Yeah, Hotjar. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hotjar is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to put that in, and you should be able to do more than one as well, I think. Okay.
And Search Console is presumably Google Search Console. I can't think of another Search Console. There might be though.
Bing does have its own one as well.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan. Excellent.
Move on.
Different spellings of Hotjar, but Hotjar, yes, is used quite a lot. When Aaron and I just briefly, Aaron, when we did the questions yesterday, we were thinking, what do councils use Hotjar for? And my experience is it's like a power heat mapping tool. That's what I've seen used most in councils. But are you getting kind of page analytics out of it as well? Does anyone want to talk about that?
I think we've used it for pop-up surveys on web pages as well. When we've gone live, you can have a little pop-up come up and ask if it's any good.
Okay. Sure. That's useful to know. Let's thank you. Let's move on. We're really interested in user feedback. And so far in LocalGov Drupal, we've never offered anything in core that allows you to do this. My hunch has been it's one of the things you do. You have a choice as a council yourself. You have your preferred technology. So we've kind of steered away from it. So I guess the question is, do you collect user feedback directly from your website, and how do you do it? What technology do you use to do it? And if it's homegrown Drupal, that's fine. If it's something else, and we're really interested as well. GovMetric. Cool. Any more from anyone? I don't know what Integran is. JavaScript form Integran. Is that Granicus?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It's Granicus. Yeah.
Cool.
React Forms. Drupal,
yeah, it's a custom solution that they've got at Leeds. Just the front end's React, and there's a custom CMS behind it. CRM, sorry.
Okay.
Are there any, I don't know, maybe we should add another question about this. Are there any councils that just don't collect user feedback at all, either because you can't process it or you don't have the technology to do it? Maybe if there's anyone in that boat, you could just write something in the chat. Or you could just write in here, don't do it, and then we'll see roughly how big that is. It's mainly Drupal, Granicus, GovMetric, isn't it? It's sort of where that is. Okay. I do think we need to do something on this. I've been thinking it for a while that we should just offer something simple and collect that data somewhere.
Kev, you were saying you're using a Drupal form, right? On every page, is that right?
Yes, we've got in the footer, we've got a link to Drupal form. It carries through the web pages come from and allows people to just provide feedback. That gets emailed automatically to a number of people every week, so we can see it.
And is that something, have you got web forms installed to do that? Because you originated all the Drupal web forms work in Croydon, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's using the web form server, and this is why there's quite a lot of work to bring it into the publication server, actually, because it's separate at the moment. So Adnan's going to have to create API, both ends of that API, to be able to pull those in, to be able to show them at the bottom of the analytics page if we get there.
Oh, I see. It'd be good to chat about how you did it generally, though, and maybe just keep something in Drupal to do it. But yeah, let's talk some more. Thank you. Should we move on? We've got a couple more left. We're really interested if you know what call center software your council uses. It would be good if you could type that in. Is that Converse, whoever wrote Netcall? Is it called Converse? I can never remember what they're all called.
I don't know. I only know it as Netcall.
Sure, that's fine. We can find out. We can find out. I don't think they've got more than one product. Mytel I've heard of. Sorry, who's that?
CX is the most recent name for it, but you're right, it was Converse. I think they've rebranded it as CX recently.
Okay. Does anyone else know what technologies? I know there's a few. I struggle to kind of find them all. I mean, I think this is the tricky one out of all of them. Trickier than the others. Just because there is so much stuff out there. How are we doing for time? 4 minutes. Should we move on again, Aaron?
Yeah.
Is this the last one? Oh, maybe 2 more. We're really interested if you know. Does your council have sort of generic case management software? So in the Croydon example, they use Liberty Create to create cases, and that's sent on, I think, to other line of business systems. Is that right, Kev? Like Citizen Hub or Liberty Create?
Yeah,
we really
largely.
Sorry.
There's obviously lots of line of business systems as well, but we try and get what we can into Citizen Hub, and that's where we're pulling all the data from. We've got other integrations, as you know, Will, to try and allow third-party systems to create cases in CRM as well. And we've done that with, say, Drupal complaints form now creates cases in our CRM. So we can report on those as well. But it's a bit of a long-term aspiration to get other systems to do that. Yeah,
thank you. And Dynamics, that's good to see. Granicus
is actually number 1 here.
Yeah. So I'm interested. I mean, we've tried having conversations with.
3 versions of Netcall there as well.
We've tried sort of having conversations with them, but they've not been particularly sort of chatty. We'll try harder, I think. It's just like something to give an idea across all services, like what's the volume that's moving through a council at any time. Almost done. So obviously what we've got here is the bare bones. There's more to do that Kev talked about, but I think a lot of this work is specific integrations for some of the technologies that we've talked about that you typed in here. Is this of interest to you? And do you think your council is in a position to fund an integration with something like Granicus or other work? You don't have to answer right now, but if you feel like there might be interested, put yes. And what do we have the names of people, Aaron?
Yeah, name and council is what we put. Otherwise, we won't know who said yes.
Yeah. And it seems like the word of the day is strong arm. What we won't do is come and strong arm you. It's up to you if you want to. Good stuff. Thanks, Catherine.
Equally, if you want to drop in about what, then that's also good info. Really thinking now, but this is all. Will can follow up after.
Yeah. If this would work for us if we had a Mytel thing, then we're happy to explore how much that might cost and talk about how we might pay for it. Then that's great. Because I think the devil's in the integrations that this thing has, really.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't want to say that now, you want to say it later, or you're just interested in co-funding how we do that, then please just drop me a line. Is this the last one?
Yeah.
Are there any other thoughts as we close? I think we're sort of running up to the close now, Aaron, so maybe we'll want to chat about the advert stuff as well. But if you've got any other thoughts or ideas, if you like it, don't like it, if you think it's missing something, if there's something you want to add, please do type in here or contact us on Slack. So thank you very much, Kev, for showing us this amazing thing.